A trader works on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Richard Drew, AP Photo U.S. Stocks plunged, capping the worst week for the S. Oil rose after OPEC agreed to cut output. The Dow Jones Industrial Average shed over 500 points Friday, bringing its decline in the abbreviated trading week to over 1,000. The trade outlook appeared to take a negative turn after Huawei Technologies' chief financial officer was charged with conspiracy and the U.S. alleged the company violated sanctions. The Federal Reserve's Lael Brainard struck a hawkish tone in comments at a conference. "What we think is going on is a repricing of growth," said Ernie Cecilia, chief investment officer at Bryn Mawr Trust Co. "The bond market is essentially saying we don't see the kind of growth that we've had. So what the market is doing is repricing stocks, particularly those that have performed extraordinarily well, to a lower growth rate." Stocks had opened higher after the November jobs report showed moderation in the labor market, giving succor to proponents for a slower pace of Fed interest rate increases. Treasuries fluctuated on the data before settling higher as risk aversion increased. The dollar fell. U.S. payrolls and wages rose by less than forecast in November while the unemployment rate held at the lowest in almost 5 decades. The report comes with financial markets on edge over whether Fed Chair Jerome Powell is closer to pausing. Market implied U.S. rate expectations have been sinking amid the tumult in equities, but hawkish views still exist among Fed officials, including Powell and Brainard. In Europe, stocks rebounded from the worst day in more than 2 years, while Asian shares posted modest gains as investors sought to end a bruising week on a more upbeat note. The pound edged lower even after UK Prime Minister Theresa May was said to be weighing a plan to postpone the vote on her Brexit deal. Oil rallied after OPEC broke an impasse over production curbs, agreeing on a larger-than-expected cut with allies after 2 days of fractious negotiations in Vienna. The cartel and its partners agreed to remove 1.2 million barrels a day from the market, with OPEC itself shouldering 800,000 barrels of the burden. Cryptocurrencies continued their slide with a fresh bout of losses after U.S. regulators dashed hopes that a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund would appear before the end of this year. These are the main moves in markets. Stocks thus. In New York, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average slumped 2.2% to 24,388.95 and the Nasdaq Composite Index tumbled 3.1% to 6,969.25, the Stoxx Europe 600 rose 0.6%, the first increase in 4 days. The UK's FTSE 100 rallied 1.1%. Germany's DAX index gained less than 0.1%. The MSCI Emerging Market Index fell less than 0.1%. The MSCI Asia Pacific Index increased 0.1%. Currencies: Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index fell 0.1%. The euro gained 0.3% to $1.1408. THE British pound weakened 0.3% to $1.2742. The Japanese yen gained less than 0.1% to 112.66 per dollar. Bonds: the yield on benchmark 10-year treasuries dropped 4 basis points to 2.85%. The 3-year note yield fell 5 basis points to 2.72% as the yield on the 5-year note dropped 5 basis points to 2.70%. Germany's 10-year yield rose 1 basis point to 0.29%. Commodities: West Texas Intermediate crude rose 1.9% to $52.48 a barrel. Gold rose 0.9% at $1,249 an ounce. LME copper climbed 1.2% to $6,145 per metric ton, the first increase in 4 days. Bloomberg.com